Sentinel has got the capability of detecting any kind of malware attempts, any kind of ransomware activities. Sentinel can detect phishing attempts, which includes the credential theft. You know, like for instance, let's say we have got an endpoint, we have put a device, and someone has tried to install Mimikatz, for instance, on that particular device. Now, Mimikatz is a very well-known credential theft tool. You will realize and you will be amazed to see Sentinel will detect these kind of malicious activities in real time. Within few seconds, that this kind of credential theft detection gets detected by Sentinel. Okay. What happens in Sentinel is, as and when threat gets detected, we get something known as incident. Okay. And the moment the incident gets detected, the global administrators or the security administrators or the security readers will receive a notification that such and such threat has been detected. And they will proactively monitor, they will proactively investigate those threats. Now, as a part of the investigation, as mentioned before, we have got these playbooks. And with the help of the playbooks, we can perform remediation actions. Now, the backbone of this kind of playbooks, it is Power Automate, which used to be known as Microsoft Flows, but now it is known as Power Automate. If you're proficient in Power Automate, you can create a playbook from scratch. You don't have to, because there are lots and lots of repositories like GitHub. They have got these kind of built-in playbooks. All you need to do is select the right playbook, deploy, and once you deploy, the playbook gets created within Sentinel. And then you will have to associate these playbooks with the analytics, the threat detection rules. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Let's say I've got a threat detection rule, excessive Windows logon failure. I can create these kind of rules from scratch, or I can use the existing templates that comes with Sentinel. So the moment these kind of threats like excessive logon failures gets detected, we can create a playbook to disable that particular user account momentarily. Sentinel has got these kind of capabilities. Sentinel can detect suspicious sign-ins and brute force attempts. The way it does this is, in Sentinel, we have got a data connector by the name of Entra ID. Okay. And we know that Entra ID has got two logs, sign-in logs and audit logs. So these sign-in logs and audit logs, or information from the sign-in logs and the audit logs, will be constantly ingested in Sentinel. So if it finds some sort of irregular patterns like suspicious sign-in means, let's say a couple of minutes back, you did a sign-in from Australia, and now within 10 minutes time, you're trying to sign in from a different geography, which is not possible. Okay. Or maybe you're trying to access something from a machine which has got a malicious IP address, or maybe you're trying to sign in to a cloud resource from a PC, which happens to be a well-known door exit node. Maybe you have installed some sort of VPN anonymizer on your machine, and you're trying to log into SharePoint Online or Teams Online. These are all example of suspicious sign-ins. Or maybe you're trying to log in to a cloud service using a Tor browser. The Tor browser is generally used to access the dark web. Sentinel can stop the lateral penetration, lateral movement within the network. Okay. There is a rule in Sentinel, isolate device. So the moment a machine gets compromised, Sentinel will automatically detect that machine has been compromised. At the same time, with the help of playbooks, we can isolate that particular machine. And what is the benefit behind this? The benefit is pretty straightforward. When a device or an endpoint gets compromised, the intruder will use that machine as a hub, as a centralized device, and try to laterally move within the network. The intention is to compromise. Okay. So if Sentinel can isolate that particular device from the network, not only Sentinel can isolate the device from a network, there are analytics rule which can stop execution of any application from that particular compromised device. So think about this. If the device has been isolated, if we have turned off app execution from that particular device, then the threat cannot penetrate. The threat cannot laterally move across the network. So this is how Sentinel handles. Data exfiltration and insider threats. Sentinel is the tool to detect data exfiltration and insider threats. I'll give you an example of this one. Like, for instance, let's say someone has decided, okay, I'll log into SharePoint Online. I'll bulk download all the files from a document library and I'll upload it to my OneDrive personal use, not the corporate OneDrive, my own personal OneDrive, or maybe my own personal Google Drive. This is a potential data exfiltration. Or maybe let's say someone has logged in to some cloud resource, like it can be SharePoint or it can be Exchange Online, and tried to forward an email, which happens to be a confidential email, to someone who is not a member of the organization. Or maybe I've decided to bulk download certain files from a SharePoint Online site and send it to someone who is not a part of our organization. These are all example of data exfiltration attacks. Sentinel can detect insider threats as well. Like for instance, it is very easy to detect and stop threats that originates from outside. Okay. But what will you do, or how will you handle scenarios where someone who has been trusted within the organization is trying to perform some sort of malicious attempts? I'll give you a use case scenario over here. I'm the domain administrator. I've got enough privileges. I look after my Active Directory on premises. I look after my DNS servers. So what if I've got bad intentions? I've decided, okay, since I've got enough privilege, I'll set up a rogue server. I'll just set up a Windows Server 2019 or 2022. I'll promote it to a domain controller and let it synchronize, let it replicate with my actual domain controller. Doing so, I will have a copy of my Active Directory database, which is ntds.dit, which has got all the user accounts, their password hashes, and everything. What if I decide to export that ntds.dit database and send it to someone? Not only this, what if I've decided to set up a machine running Windows Server, install the DNS server role on that particular machine, and what if I decide to run commands like dnscmd/xfr, zone transfer? So I will be able to transfer the DNS zone onto my system. And this DNS zone will have information about my machines, their IP addresses, my email server records, and everything. Okay. So Sentinel can detect these kind of anomalies in real time. So these are some of the common threats which are detected by Sentinel.